Happy Friday to one and all. And Georgie, it's kind of odd having no racing live here at the Great Race Place today. But I see you have a beautiful new background in my old office. And B, we've got a nice surprise for tomorrow with the Pick Six going on.
Man, we got so much stuff going on this weekend. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it should be great. And where'd you get the pictures real quick? I like that.
Yeah, I got there's one of you in there somewhere over here. I think that's you and me in a motorcycle right up here somewhere. Right next to Dracula. There you go.
Well, I like the background, and we've got plenty of things to look forward to. We just spoke a minute ago, Gino. We're going to go over this pick six in a couple seconds here. Looks like a very difficult sequence to be frank about it.
I mean, I can't remember one that I've looked at that was this challenging. There's not any horse that feels like they will be like an overwhelming favorite that everybody will single in on or gravitate towards as a major single. We have 4 maiden claiming races in the sequence. So they're challenging and they're big fields throughout. This is a tough pick six and a really fun one to dive into.
Skip, I know you watch a lot of replays, and we were talking before. It looks very tough. Just finding a single in the sequence isn't easy, is it?
It's not. I tried to find a couple, and I think I might have, but I'm not real confident with any of them. I'm going to have to play a couple different tickets, but you got to take a stand in a couple of these races because, like Gino and the rest of you guys said, they're wide open. It's a very tough sequence and very challenging.
All right. Well, we know that the Dodger game is coming on in about a half hour, so we're going to try to make this about 30 minutes long and speed through these, but do the best we can here. We start with race 5, Gino. And this is the beginning of the pick six. And I wrote at the top of the page, impossible for the first leg. So, Gino, what are your thoughts? This 9-horse field to kick it off going 6 furlongs.
This is probably my least favorite race in the sequence, just as far as having an opinion. Some of the other races, I think I have a stronger opinion. I will probably use the 4 horses to the inside on my ticket. The 2 King Zog is probably the horse to catch and beat, but he was 2-5 at Los Al and was skidding a perfect trip and just loomed up and absolutely hung. Like, it's really hard to be super confident. I would imagine they're just going to send him and try to put him on the lead and just get him in front this time. Mentirosa was not far behind him. He actually showed improved speed in that last start. So I think he may be on the way up. The one was actually the wild card that I think I'll throw in, Start Them Up. I really liked that effort at Los Al last time out. Horse made up a lot of ground from the back, kind of moved from the outside down to the inside, was shifting around a little bit. And then the 4 Reign of Speed had a really, really wide trip. That'll probably be how I kick things off with the inside 4 horses, but I'm definitely not confident in this race. It is a really tough way to start because there's nobody in here that you could really feel, I think, overwhelmingly confident about.
Well, Skippy, a couple of knocks on a couple of those, which we can have knocks on everybody, is King Zog. Maldonado actually jumps off to go on Reef City. And if you watch the replay in that race, that Mentirosa never change leads down the lane, which is always kind of a negative as well. But there's negatives galore in these 9 horses. So what are you thinking here?
But it's very, very tough. I looked at all these horses that come out of that Los Al race, and I didn't like any of them. My top play is going to be a first-time starter on the outside for David Hoffmans, who doesn't usually win first time out. He's much better second time out. But this horse gets a great post. It's the 9 Victim of the Night. It's bred very well. It's got Kyle Frey on there. I think this horse is going to get a great trip from the outside. And I'm just hoping that, maybe he's got one that could break its maiden first time out. The one thing that bothers me from April or August 23rd to September 14th, it doesn't have a work. So it's missing a work or 2 works there. But then it came back after that, September 14th, September 21st, September 28th, October 6th, October 12th. So it's had 5 works since then. So I'm not too worried about that. Out of the horses that have run before, I'm definitely going to use the 7, Reef City. This horse, first time out, broke from the rail, which is not a good place to be. And then second time out, it got bumped really hard at the start, and I kind of throw that race out. It still, got beat 7 3/4 length. Maldonado gets off the 2 to get on the 7. So I'm using those 2 for sure, and I might add a couple other ones in the ticket. I don't like the 2. They could have the favorite. I think the 1 might be on the ticket, and that's it. I might go just 1-7-9 with the 9 being my top play.
Well, Georgie, I see Gino has the Dodger shirt on, and as Gino's hoping Chicks Dig the long ball. But for me, my top pick was actually the 6 Chicks Dig It, talking about a trainer who doesn't win first time out, Jerry Wallace. But yet, if you watch on XBTV on October 1st, that horse actually worked very well with a maiden special weight runner that Doug O'Neill trains. So I'm actually going after the longest shot on the board as my top play. I guess he hasn't proven he can't run yet, but I actually like that work, Georgie. What are you looking at? I know you're a sheets guy. What are the sheets telling you?
Well, first of all, before we even get into it, I don't even know if we mentioned it, that there's a carryover in the pick 6 of 266,000. That's dead money waiting. If you ever wanted to play a pick 6, this is the day to play, obviously. And we're expecting that pool to exceed $2 million. So definitely get involved. You can get free PPs at santanita.com. We got some free Equibase past performances so you can follow along. And it's in there. You know, you got to find them. It's our new website. But, you know, if you go to santanita.com/event/entertainment/mandatory-payout, it's in there somewhere. So they're in there. But this is a wide open race. Miotti has been texting me. He's going with the Apprentice, so I don't know if it's El Maldonado who took off. I think they really feel that King Zod's got a big chance to win this. And my second choice is Chicks Dig It. I think this one's been working really well and won't have to be much to be a contender. And 15-1. This is a tough race. Throw it as many as you can.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention Stay in the Game, who's actually the only horse dropping out of maiden special weights into maiden claimers, which is always a huge angle. So we basically covered the entire field in race 1. So go ahead and hit the all button, and let's go to the second leg, which doesn't seem to get much easier, Georgie. 6 furlongs, a maiden claimer on the turf here. What are your thoughts here?
Well, it's hard to ignore the 2. You are pressed. As you mentioned, dropping from maiden special weight to maiden claiming is always a profitable angle year in, year out. Doug O'Neill, you know, he goes from Rivera to Cedillo, who's riding well. I like You Are Pressed, and I like Ivory Sky a little bit as well. The 3, who's got some decent numbers, and it's a huge price. But this is another. They don't get any easier. It's a tough race, and the best thoroughgraph number belongs to the 11, an Army of Light. So you could use an army of these guys in here.
Yeah. So Georgie's top pick is the very. We see a lot of Minnesota breds here in California. That's for sure. Yeah. You Are Pressed, Gino. But I was all over the board. I wrote at the top. I'm about 8 deep. So far, I'm all by 8.
Yeah.
What do you? My top pick was the 10. First off the claim for Peter Miller. 2-back actually ran second to a Baffert horse, and then last time a failed going 2 turns. But you know that horse hasn't tried the turf. Should like it, Cairo Prince. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, the 5 is the horse that I really want on my ticket, Facetious. You start to dive into him. His first 2 races were sprinting on the turf, and they were good. He ran really well in his career debut, and then in his second start, he was only 5-2. He took a ton of money, and he had legitimate trouble that day. Career start number 3, they stretch him out. Again, he runs pretty well. He finishes 4th in a field of 12. He shows speed that day, finishes behind a horse named Handy Dandy, who's a much tougher horse than, horses in this group. Unfortunately, after that race, he was sent to the bench for a while. He didn't run from November to July. He shows back up in July in a sprint race on the dirt at Los Al, kind of does what you would expect. He shows a little bit of early speed. He's fresh off the bench, and then he fades. Then they put the blinkers on, and they go long on the turf. He runs off, doesn't want to go that far. Now they cut him back to a turf sprint where his best races were. They take the blinkers off to get him to relax a little bit. He's going to be making the 3rd start of the form cycle, 3rd start off the very long layoff. And for the first time, he's going to be dropping in class with maiden claimers. There are a lot of things to like about Facetious. You have to do a little archaeology. Got to do a little digging there through the past performances, to really kind of get through to back to some of the decent ones. But I think he really fits well. The Doug O'Neill horse coming in from Gulfstream Park is very interesting. Icy flavor. The blinkers come on. This guy has a dam that won 4 times on the turf. She was stakes placed. She produced 2 foals to try the turf. One of them is a multiple winner, and the other one is a New York bred stakes winner. So this is a decent little pedigree for a horse that comes into O'Neill's barn, drops in class. They add the blinkers. Our guy, the sniper, Barry Spears, he calls this like the makeover package when you're doing all the things like that to try to get this horse into the winner's circle. So I thought that was a must use. Nothing wrong with our Shining Lights race. That horse ran against a field of 14 in Ireland in a career debut on the synthetic, completely missed the break, and then was wide and was really closing well down the middle of the racetrack with a lot of good late energy. You can watch those races, a Dundalk on a lot of your ADWs too. I mean, those 3 will be on my tickets for sure, and they're really fun price horses that maybe won't be on everybody else's ticket. So, Facetious is one that I think is definitely worth throwing into your pick sixes, and it'll probably be in the 8-10 to 1 range.
If Facetious third off the lay, that was actually my third choice in there. I thought that was interesting as well, 12 to 1. Skipper, your thoughts here in another wide open race, the second leg?
Oh boy, this is to me this race is tougher than the first leg. My top play is Our Shining Light. Like Gino said, that replay was good. It missed the start, came running down the middle of the track. First time Lasix, ran against 14 horses. That would be my top play. Wong's good with these types. He's working this horse at Golden Gate. He ships into Santa Anita, puts it on the grass, slam dunk racing. That's my top play. I like Facetious also. Like Gino said, the blinkers off. I remember I bet that horse the first couple times it ran and had trouble in both starts. Another one I'm going to use is a 4-horse, Straight to the Source. This horse has got some good breeding, and I like the workouts. And the trainer, Ruben Alvarado, I know he's trained a lot of the Peter Millers when Peter Miller was on retirement or wherever he was doing. But look at 29% first out, 36% first turf, 25% first time Lasix, debut maiden claiming 20%. That horse is going to be on my ticket. Then I'm going to go to the outside. I like your horse that Peter Miller claimed. Gary Barber, he's very sharp. When they dip in and claim a horse, they usually do very well with their horses. And look who climbs aboard, J.J. Hernandez. And Peter Miller's barn has been red hot. So whenever he's got one running, you just add them. You add them all. And then I'm going to use the 11 horse, and the 12 is also going to be on my ticket. Have I said enough yet?
Yeah, I think we're the theme is getting deep and deeper, Georgie.
Yes.
And one thing, real quick question. I don't know if this means anything. Maybe I'm looking into it too much. The Wong slam dunk, those guys bring in so many good horses, and this horse dwelt and ran on well. Does it make you wonder that they're putting in for the 50 tag first time here? That made me cause for pause, or maybe they're just placing it where they think it can win.
Yeah, I would say I wasn't really turned off by that as much, especially the horse has a pretty good turf pedigree too. The dam one on the grass, 2 winning turf siblings, adding the blinkers, getting Lasix for the first time. I wouldn't let that discourage you in a wide open race. Like I wouldn't let that be the reason why you didn't use the horse. But man, really tough. But if we do go into the next, this is where I'm going to have a single.
Well, Georgie, what are your thoughts here in the 6th?
I think I
well, he mentioned You Are Pressed already.
Oh,
yeah,
You Are
George already
Pressed.
went.
I like.
Oh yeah,
He likes
All right.
Ivory Sky a little bit too. Come on, I'm paying attention to George. You're not
I'm
even paying
losing it
attention
already. We're 2 legs in. We've mentioned so many horses. I can't remember who talked about what.
I know.
I
That's
want to
why
say
I was trying to lead you to the next race
No,
because I
I
knew
know.
we were done.
I appreciated the lead in. I knew what you were doing, and I actually forgot. I forgot we started with George. So on to the 7th, as you were saying, Gino. Maybe we have a single here for you in the third leg.
Na, 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 na.
Really,
Trojan way for me.
Trojan.
This is the race where I think you can try to shorten up a little bit because some of the other races are so deep, they're so challenging. In this race, I think the major players here do stand out a little bit. Like you look at Trojan Way, Charlotte Harbor, maybe Kitten Calls as horses that are probably the horses to beat. And if if I look at a race and I see a couple horses that are similar prices, I try to find the one I like the most and take a stand there. For me, it's Trojan Way. He had legitimate trouble last time out. He got bumped a bit at the start. Then he was crowded down on the inside, kind of pushed through nicely up to third. He wanted to go more, but he tried to move through an opening to the lead, and the inside, he got shut off. And then he backed up. When he tried to come on again, the top couple had already separated. But that race has already come back live. The runner-up named Squillions went over to Remington Park, won a maiden special weight, and then beat winners next time out. Trojan Way will now move into the Paul Aguirre barn. I love Paul Aguirre, playing Paul Aguirre horses in spots like this. He's a very good conditioner. He knows where to spot his horses. A lot of time they're at lower levels like this where they can really get a chance to win. There is not much speed in this race at all. I wouldn't be shocked if this horse is right on the lead or sitting just off. The career debut was not a good effort, but the race was really live. There were 4 next out winners out of that race. So I didn't hold it against this horse at all, that it just didn't really fire on the turf. I think this filly has the most upside of the others in here, who I think we've seen run and we kind of know what they are. I'm singling Trojan Way. In this sequence, you have to take a stand somewhere. This was the race where I felt like I feel the best with Trojan Way. I'm going to single, then I can really spread out using the 20-cent base in a lot of the other races.
Skipper, I have trouble with these mile maiden claimers and a couple horses stretching out for the first time. Gino, we know he's a Trojan man and he's going to stick with it, and I could see his angle there. What are your thoughts here?
I'm with Gino. I like the 4, but I'm not gonna single here. I'm gonna go too deep. I'm gonna also put Charlotte Harbor. This horse has got 3 races. It's 6 furlongs, 6.5 was last time. I think this horse will enjoy the stretch out now. I know it's 2 races when it ran long on the grass, looked terrible. He got beat 15 lengths and 14.25 lengths. I think this horse, they dropped it down. They finally found the right level. Vladimir Serin takes over for Keith DeSormo. JJ Hernandez is aboard. I know that, when you like 2 and they're both the same price, you probably want to just take a shot and single, but I'm going to single in another leg. So I'm going to use 2 horses in here. I'm going to use Charlotte Harbor and Trojan Way. I don't really like Kenton Calls breaking from the outside. I know it's dropping in class. Maybe it could win, and if it does, so be it. I'm not using it. I'm going 3-4 in here.
3-4 and 4 with Gino. This is his single. George, where are you looking here in the mile maiden claimer?
I think Gino's right. This is a single race. Yeah. But I'm not singling his horse. So that's what's great about horse racing. It's
because I think of all the races, George, you're spot on. Like, if you can whittle this race down to 2 or 3, you're better off just taking a stand, unless you love another horse later on that you say, okay, I want to single there and I can just try to get through this race, but I can't. The other races are so challenging. I had to take a stand in here.
Yeah, I'm taking a stand in here because the other ones are really difficult. And I really singling, obviously. So I obviously like number 7, Kitten Calls. I think Kitten Calls is, they've tried so many times to get a win with her against tougher competition, and she just couldn't deliver. And I think they finally said, forget it. Let's just put her where she can win. If you could draw a line through that last race, her previous Thoroughgraph numbers are great. The one time she tried a mile, if you go back and watch that race, she had all kinds of trouble and still, ran decent to be 4th. I think she's going to love the mile. I think she towers over this field from a class point of view. Never been this low. It's now or never. If she can't win today, she may never win. So to me, I'm hoping today's the day, and I'm going to single Kitten Calls.
The only cause for me on that horse is even with the outside draw. Now I know it's not 11, 12 horses. That horse doesn't break well. Very often is slow out of the gate, and I think that could be spell trouble. If the horse breaks well, that's one thing, but that could be the key to George's horse could be the very start of this race. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Race 8. Skippy, is this your single race, or we looking elsewhere?
I'm going to take a stand in here. Out of all the horses that I watched the replays and looked at, number 3, Feather stood out to me. That last race was giant.
How did that horse win? Skip, at the top of the lane?
Impossible.
No shot. It was an incredible ride.
He had nowhere to go and just was sitting there, and he finally found that little seam and just went right through there. And I still didn't know if he got up or not, or she got up or not, but she did, and she galloped out good. I'm taking a stand. And, Peter Miller, we said he's red hot. Okay, look, this horse, you go back to Del Mar, it won for claiming 40. And then it goes right into the Del Mar Oaks against Going Global. We all know how good she is. Next race, stumbled start, got beat a half length. Then goes in a great, a very good race at Del Mar November 3rd against Moraz, Nazuna, and Super Game, who came back to win. That was a good race. And then the first time back, I didn't really like that race. I don't know what happened. It got beat 8 lengths. Maybe it was just outclassed or whatever.
It was not a great trip either.
Right.
It really wasn't a great trip, and it was a little bit too tough. That race doesn't really bother me too. That last race was so good. I think this is the level, right? This is sort of like found the right spot. And I think if she won with that trip, I don't know how she can get much worse of a trip than she did when she won. So I can't leave her off my ticket. I probably won't be singling like Skip, but I have to include her with probably one or two others.
Yeah. And that's what I'm sorry. I think they found the right level for her. You know what I mean? And she won. And that trip, I tried to make a stand for the one, dropping down in class, has a couple wins over the track, Ron Ellis, Van Dyke from the rail. But that last race, it says traffic, second turn. It wasn't that much traffic.
Well, I'll use her, Skip, because I thought that she was sort of at the back of the pack when she and sometimes it's a little deceiving because when you're just behind like one horse at the back, she was just sort of stuck. She just couldn't launch a rally. So it wasn't like she was running up onto the heels of other, but she was just at the mercy of waiting and waiting and waiting. I thought when she got the room and was able to unleash it a little bit, I thought she took the step forward. So I will agree with you 1000% on Feathers. And I was able to get Kitty Hawk Lass onto my ticket too. I think she has maybe one more step forward in there. And if she does, she definitely fits well with this group. So maybe I'm a little bit more forgiving than Skippy is right now. Maybe that's the case.
What I didn't like is the way that she finished. Once he got her to the outside, I thought she still would come running. Look how quick they went. 21-3, 44-4, 109-4. This horse, there's no reason for this horse not to finish better than she did. And I don't know if it's just her being 6 years old now or what, but I tried to make a stand for her and I couldn't. So that's why I'm going to single the 3.
I kind of landed on Feathers as my single as well. That trip was just too unbelievable to watch and to realize the horse got up and win and just cruised. Finally got room down the inside and got up late. The only other horse I thought was interesting, but I kind of narrowed it down to a couple, was the outside, or not the outside, the 8-horse Novella off that long layoff that maybe
should get a perfect trip. Right? She could sit a perfect trip and maybe get the jump on Feathers and some of the deeper closers. It really just comes out to how the race plays out with the pace standpoint, because, Galavie was one of those horses that was involved in that really fast runoff race last time out, but it doesn't look like Galavie will have as much other speed in here to deal with. The outside horse, Miss Hard Knocks, might be a real key to the race, because I don't know if she's good enough to win, but can she at least be fast enough to set things up for some of the other closers and to put a little pressure on a horse like Galavie and make this an honest race? Because if not, there might be versions of this race where Galavie could be sitting out front and not dealing with nearly as much pressure as she had last time.
Yeah. Georgie, what are the numbers saying on this race?
Well, I love the numbers, and I love I'm using a lot of runners in here. I like the one. I like Novella. I really don't like Feathers, but but here's one that is a must use on my ticket. A must use is number 9, Hot on the Trail. Hot on the Trail actually has the best thoroughgraph numbers in the race. It's very competitive, and both of those had problems. You look through it, stumbled badly, waited, a step slow. Now gets that one race that 1,000 yards just to sharpen her speed. I see that as a workout. They took that horse, they took that mare over there, gave her a workout. Vasquez, once again, riding for Reese. Reese, he's running for one of our best jockeys. I think Hot on the Trail has got a gigantic shot at 12-1, so I'm definitely using number 9, amongst others.
Well, so far we're kind of all over the place. We've got a couple, singles. Like you said, there's no clear-cut single. You got to take a stand somewhere. Hopefully you get lucky, spread elsewhere. This has the looks of a day that's really going to pay.
It's going to pay.
Yeah.
We've said that before, and then it chalks out, but it just...
Well, there are going to be a couple races where I don't even know who the favorite are going to be,
right,
though.
Yeah,
that's the difference is that, it's like this 9th race is not a picnic. At all. Because any of the horses who have run and have experience have not run well at all. So you look at the first-time starters maybe, but they're not necessarily overwhelming first-time starters with like Monster Barnes. It's just a really tricky sort of race. This is another one where I landed Chappie here on the Hector Palma first-time starter. I think this is a horse to use in your pick 6. He has always been very good with first-time starters and with young horses. No matter when his barn is rolling, when his barn's struggling, he doesn't have the biggest numbers in the world. And a lot of times he's able to win at these maiden claiming levels because he can put horses in spots and not necessarily be worried about them getting claimed away. His barn has won with 10 of their last 77 first-time starters. That's 13% over the last 5 years. And the ROI is $3. So if you blindly bet your $2 to win on every Hector Palma first-time starter over the last 5 years, your $2 would have turned into $3. I mean, that's a very nice investment long-term for how well this barn does with their first-time starters. The Dam was a 3-time winner. The Dam was a little bit sneaky. And the work pattern, it looks like there might be one work missing, but then after that, there's like 4 in a row. And I don't even know if it was missing. It may have just been in the transition from coming back from Del Mar to Santa Anita when a lot of barns move their horses back. Sometimes the schedule can get a little off. You train or you gallop and then you change locations. You have to van and drive. I think this first-time starter is definitely a use in here because I'm just not in love with any of the horses who have run really at all.
I'm singling in this race, Chappie, as well.
Go ahead.
Because, you got a single. For me, I need 2 singles. So I'm singling another horse. And this race is either you must use them all or you single a horse because it's impossible. And I'm going to single number 7, Hialeah Hottie. Hialeah Hottie, it looks like a private sale coming in here, getting that ship and win program that's been so successful. It's going to, go from an Ofer trainer to Doug O'Neill. Doesn't have to be much. Drops from maiden special weight. It's either all or single. I'm singling Hialeah Hottie in the 9th.
And broke from the rail first time out, which we always like from the rail to the outside. The one thing, Skip, you and I talk about a lot, and Gino as well, of the first-time starters, we always go to XBTV. I couldn't find a lot of these works on XBTV.
Me neither. Yeah.
So there were no works on the 4, 5, or the 6 at all. And, other than maybe the Miller dropping with some speed and the O'Neill, going from the rail and dropping, I didn't love the replay of the 3 Madeira. What were your thoughts, Skipper?
Yeah, another tough race. These first timers I wanted to try to like, but like you said, we couldn't see any of the works on XBTV. I tried to like the 4, but I keep seeing gaps in the works. August 28th, no work till September 18th. No work till October 7th. So I can't use that. Maybe they're missing it. I don't know, but that's too spotty for me. I always like horses that go from turf to dirt and route to sprint. And here we are, Peter Miller again. So hopefully he stays hot. If he stays hot, it's going to be a good day for me. I know this horse doesn't look real good on paper. It's going to the dirt for the first time, which the dirt should not be a problem the way this horse moves. It's dropping down to maiden claiming 40. That's one of the biggest drops in racing. He puts Vasquez on. They have a very good win percentage. I'm just hoping with the drop in class, the turf to dirt, route to sprint move, maybe I could get lucky and get the 2 home. I'm not going to single it, though. I am going to use the 5, the first-time starter, Hector Palma. And I'm going to use the 3. Last time it broke from the rail. It wasn't real impressive in that work. But the thing that I did like, this horse, Turn It for Home, the winner won easy. It was a horse of Doug O'Neill's that dropped down and won for fun.
Yeah.
But this horse had his head down and was trying. It
It's a
wasn't
weird
making up
race.
any ground.
Like there was the horse showed some ability, was spotty, but like
Right.
ran in stretches. It was weird. I didn't really know what to take of it. I could kind of understand what you were saying, Chappie, before, but like then I watched it again. There were flashes of something.
Right.
This was the hardest horse in the race for me to figure out what to do with.
Right. And look at 5 of its 6 siblings are winners, and that's always good, So I got to have that horse on my ticket. Sam Scalamari, he'll pop with one of these every now and then. I know it's only 3-1, but getting off the rail, and I just saw a little something that I have to use this ticket. So I'm going to go 2, 3, 5 in here.
And like Skip said, that the winner Funkhauser was an O'Neill dropper that actually went off at 4-5 and blasted home who would be 2-5 in this field. So,
Right.
All right, the 10th and final, it doesn't get any easier. Georgie, with the new wall behind you, what are you thinking in the last? You spreading here?
All right. I'm probably going to use a few in here. And but, I think last time we were on the show, I liked Careless Kitten, who was 0 for 500 or something like that. And once again found the way to lose. And so I'm done with these horses like that. Witch Moon is another one. Witch Moon, it's got strong numbers, but is 1 for 19, always gets a piece, but never gets a win. So I'm not using Witch Moon at all. My top pick is going to be number 1. Finally broke through. And a lot of times when that light bulb turns on, they just keep on winning. It was a really nice breakthrough win for In Your Face. Peter Urton has started the meet and Fuego. And so amongst some other ones like Dolly May and maybe Ropers and Wranglers, but my top pick and one for me to use for sure is number 1, because if he wins, I'm going to be telling everybody in your face.
I was waiting for that one, Georgie. I was waiting for that one from you.
Gino, I was kind of all over the board. I had George's 1 in there. I thought the 9 was interesting just because it's going to Phil D'Amato and Ramon Vasquez takes over.
I love a horse in this race. I absolutely love a filly in here.
Bring it on.
I actually mentioned this horse a few months ago, Beachgrass.
I remember.
Now, keep in mind, this filly broke her maiden against winners at this level, right? So she's already won at this level when she won back in March. Following that, she ran again at this level, and she was only 4-1. Brutal trip. She comes back in her next start at the level again. Brutal trip. They send her to the bench for a few months. She shows back up on September the 5th. Guys, she stumbles at the start. She's pushed back to about 9th, 8 lengths off. She's inside. She's behind horses. She moves up into a nice position. She's traveling well with really good late energy. She's beaten 6 lengths, but the winner of that race won by 4 lengths. She was right there for 3rd. And I think she is ready to take another step forward now, second off the bench. We know she can win at this level. And she's one of those horses where if I wouldn't have played her months ago, I wouldn't even probably have taken a second look at her. I might have looked at a couple of her recent races and just thrown them out. But I remembered her. I said, I remember this, Phil. And you look back at her, and then you make excuses for 3 races in a row where she had legitimate trouble. I think it's a great spot for Beachgrass to bounce back. I'll also include the 1 In Your Face. The 3, Lizzie D, comes out of a very nice effort at Kentucky Downs. Those races are really strong at Kentucky. She was inside in a good spot. She was in crowded. She shifted off the rail late. She was in some traffic, and now she's going to go second off a 4.5-month break. 1, 3, and 5 will be all over the place for me. Maybe 1 or 2 others, but I love this race in that I felt like there were a lot of 5-1 shots and above that you could really get excited about or make strong cases for, and Beachgrass will be the top selection for me here.
I did have Beachgrass 3rd. I forgot you mentioned that, but just watching the replays, definitely trouble 3 races in a row. 12-1 is ridiculous. Skip, are you spreading here?
I am. I'm going to use 4 or 5 horses. I'm going to put R. Valentina on my ticket for sure. Jeff Mullins claimed this horse for Rockingham Ranch. Mike Smith jumps aboard. He just did this at Del Mar for Rockingham Ranch, and the horse ended up winning and then came back at Santa Anita and ran a strong second. Horse has been training good. There's not a whole lot of speed in the race. I don't know what Mike's going to do with this horse, if he's going to try to put her on the lead or not. I know the 2's got a little bit of speed, but Hector Barrios isn't a send type of rider. And then, so the 4 is definitely going to be on the ticket. Beach Grass also. I remember Gino gave it out on our radio show when it broke its mane against.
I think of the last winner I gave out on the radio show about 6 months ago.
Till tomorrow.
But you've done a lot better than that, And then the 1 was very impressive last time. I said in my notes, won nicely, loved the gallop out. This horse went over to Peter Eurton. First time out, it lacked room, got beat ahead. Then second time out, I don't know what really happened. Came right back, got a perfect trip, and won nicely going away. So that's going to be on my ticket. Lizzie D, like Gino said, is going to be on my ticket. School Dance has to be on my ticket. And then I got to put Dolly May, who I don't like really, but I got to put with Sadler. So I'm going to go 1, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10 to end the day.
All right. Well, gentlemen, we all had a lot of opinions, and I think what we came away with it is, like any time in a pick 6, you got to take your stand, take at least single. Probably in this sequence, you almost might want to take 2 singles and then have plenty of room to spread in the other legs and hope you get lucky. So
don't feel afraid to play a couple different tickets too. I always like to do that, because you can play one opinion a little stronger. Maybe you can play one where you just, you don't single anyone, and then you play your singles, the horses you really like, and then you can really spread out a little bit more. And with the 20-cent base wager, you can spread out a little bit. And this feels like a sequence that is worth spreading out and right. Taking a few shots. Like this could be a really, really massive payout. And remember, it will get paid no matter what on the mandatory payout. So we're all playing against each other. We're all seeing that it's tough. We just got to do a little bit better than some of the other people do, and we'll get paid.
Yeah. Georgie, tomorrow you're going to be down in the apron?
Yeah. I'm going to dress in my lederhosen. It's Oktoberfest weekend, Saturday, Sunday. We have a lot of free games where you can win cash. So come on out. We're going to have some great times. Also, there's a book signing tomorrow. The book is called Land of Loose, the story of Seattle Slews champion. And the author, Mary Perdue, and John White will be on hand to sign the book. So we got that. We got the carryover. We got the free. Do we have a contest this weekend called Pick'em, Gino?
Absolutely do. I just posted a preview also that you can check out. If you follow me on Twitter, it's me, Gino B. My friend Eric helps me out every week. We show you how to sign up. Pick'em.santanita.com. Totally free. $1,000 to the winner. We just spent about 15 minutes going through the 12 props for Saturday, sharing some of our insight. So if you need a little help building your lineup, free to enter, and we give you some free analysis. We even show you how to sign up. The only thing we're not doing is taking your finger and clicking and actually registering it for you yourself. So no excuses. We're helping you out. Get involved in those pick'em contests.
Step by step from Gino, and the final step will be race 5 tomorrow, and that's a guaranteed mandatory payout. Expect to exceed $2 million. First, that post time for race 5 is around 3:10 Pacific. So, gentlemen, Gino, good luck with your Dodgers tonight. Skippy, the Kings are underway, and we wish everybody the best of luck at the Pick 6. Go visit George at his lederhosen tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
See you guys. Good luck.